number 4 on how to build an app for Branch's How to Build an App Day. All right, so last time we learned the basics of a function here. We built this hello world function. We connected our view controllers to these pieces of code, so now we have some code that's being executed. And in this tutorial, I want to teach you a little bit about what we call variables in computer science. Okay, and essentially what a variable is you can think of it as a way to store a value. Okay, so in Swift, we have a couple different variables. So I'm going to give myself some room here. We have what's called let, which means that this variable can only be set once. So let's say this is let x equal 4. Okay, so now what I'm saying is this variable x is equal to 4. What happens, or I'm going to get a warning here because I never actually use this function or this variable, so I'm just going to put print x, or yeah, print x. Okay, that warning should go away. There you go. Okay, so that means that variable x is going to be 4, and it's going to be 4 forever. That means if I try to override x, so I say let x equal 4, now I change my mind and I say I want x actually to be equal to 3, what's going to happen is going to get an error here. It says you cannot assign value x because it is a let variable, or it's a let constant. Okay, so for variables that we want to change, what we do is we prefix them instead with var. So let's keep this one here. Let's create a new variable called y, and we're going to have this one be a var. So let's say y is equal to 2. Okay. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm never using it, so it's going to complain again. But let's go ahead and print y as well, so that warning goes away. But now what we can do is we can say, okay, y is equal to 5 now, and change the value y, and we're not going to get any complaints because we've now set y to be a variable. So lets are constants; they're always going to be the same value once they're set, and vars are variable essentially. So you can continue to change them as much as you want. You can also use that variable in the same, or use any variables in mathematic function here. So let's say that we say y is equal to x plus 4. So now, x plus 4. So now y is going to be equal to 8, right? If we run that, we're going to get, this is going to print 4, this is going to print 8, and then remember this is also going to print hello world. So let's go ahead and try to run this. Here we go. And now the view did load should run. We're going to get 4, and we're going to get 8 because x is equal to 4, and y was originally equal to 2, but now it's equal to x plus 4, which 4 plus 4 is 4. And then we're going to get our hello world because that's what we printed before. Great. So now there's actually another form of variable, and it's what we call a parameter. So a parameter is something that you can put in these parentheses here, and you'll be able to pass this variable into this function here. So I think it's easy if I just explain it here. So, all right, we have, let's say that we want to pass in to hello world a number, or let's change the name of this function. Let's get rid of this, and let's call this function print number. Okay, and then we're going to pass in this number. Now, when we give this variable a name, we need to give it a type as well. So in computer science, there's a lot of different data types. the ones that we need to deal with here are called integers. Integers are whole numbers. Doubles are decimals. In Swift, there's CG floats, and there's NS numbers and doubles, and a lot of different ways to look at a number. They're all just encoded in different ways, but all we really care about is whole numbers right now. So we're going to call this an int. Okay, it's going to give us a option. These are other types of integers. This just means the number of bits that they're encoded, which we don't really care about right now. So now we have this print number function, and now it's going to take a number. So what we can say is, let's get rid of these print statements here, and let's call this function print number, and we're going to pass in an integer. Okay, so let's pass in our value y. Okay, so now what this is saying is print number is passing in this value y. So when this is called, this function is called, number is going to be equal to whatever was passed in, and y was passed in. So numbers can be equal to 4. So let's print, say your number is, and then to add a variable into a string or a piece of text, I guess you can say. We'll get into strings in a little bit. You can pass, you can do / parentheses, and then put in the variable. So we're going to put in a number here. So now when we run this, what's going to happen is this print number function is going to take y, it's going to pass it into print number, and then print number is going to call print to the console, and it's going to say your number is 4. And let's actually do that again, and let's say what your number is x. Okay, great. So let's run this. Let's see what happens. Building. Great. So now we have your number is 8 because y is 8. Remember, it's x plus 4. And the second line is your number is 4 because x here is still equal to 4. Great, so now we have an idea of what variables are and what parameters are, and that's going to be important in this next section. Let's see how we're doing for time. You know, we'll deal with this in the next section, so I'll cap this video off here.